Just in, a man was shot in the front of Drake's Toronto home. Yes, a man was shot by a drive-by shooter while standing in the front entrance of Drake's Toronto mansion. Now, this devastating incident is happening on the heels of, you already know, the rap beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And I kept preaching throughout all these videos that they have to keep the main thing the main thing. I kept saying, this is great, creative genius. They're showing their artistry, their creativity, as long as they stay in bounds. Well, lo and behold, this thing has now gotten out of bounds. We need referees because they have gone out of bounds. And I'm not saying that Kendrick Lamar is a part of this drive-by shooting at Drake's home, but you already know the opinion of public appeal. The jury of public opinion has already been rendered, and they're definitely making the connection. However, I have some other thoughts, because just like a lot of those outdoor gatherings that all of a sudden there's incidents happening, people shooting, and other incidents, they're trying to make it like we can't convene outside as a group. This could also be other people trying to imply that this was because of the rap beef. Now, there's some other scenarios that you have to consider. One, in fact, the drive-by shooting could be the doing of someone who wants to make it appear as if it's the result of the rap beef, as if, like I was just saying. That's one scenario. Check out a second scenario. It could be someone trying to set up Kendrick Lamar, or to simply bring negative notoriety, negative heat onto the rap industry. Or check out, it could be another situation. It could be someone who's being scrutinized heavy in the media, who's being dragged and tossed through the mud in the media, that wants to do this to take the blame, to take the spotlight off of them and put it on someone else. Like, let's see, maybe Diddy, maybe Puff Daddy. He's being scrutinized, has been for months, through the media with sexual assault allegations and so forth and so on. It has a very long reach, especially within the rap industry. These are all alternative scenarios that could easily have happened to cause this drive-by shooting. But I'm going to tell you exactly what happened and why it happened. Stay tuned.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 45 minutes.
You done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
You got knocked the fuck out! What's up, man?
It has been confirmed by media sources that indeed a man was shot while standing outside of Drake's Toronto mansion by a drive-by shooter. Police reported there's no identity of the suspects or of the vehicle at this time, but they also confirmed they have no clear motive for the shooting as of yet. But like I mentioned earlier, you know, everybody's already jumping to conclusions, and the easiest conclusion to jump to is that this is the result of the rap battle or the rap beef that was happening between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Now, police also confirmed that this was a 48-year-old man that was the victim of this shooting, and he's also a member of Drake's security team. So this man was basically doing his job. You know, it's early in the morning, yesterday morning, or this morning, early in the morning, he's just doing his job, and a drive-by shooting occurs, and he got shot. Just that fast. That's why you gotta always stay prayed up. Always be your best self, because when you're your best self, everybody wins. But when you're not your best self, everybody loses, including you. Like, we never know what life beholds for all of us. So always be on the right side with God, right? Now, I told you police confirmed it was a 48-year-old man. They aren't sure if it's associated with the rap beef, but check this out. The London police reported that someone vandalized the OVO store and spray painted "They Not Like Us" on the front window.
Oh
This thing
my
is
God.
crazy and it's heating up. If someone wanted to set up Kendrick Lamar, they're doing a great job of it because all these things were the OVO store and all that was discussed in this rap beef. And you're going to hear also Drake's mansion was shown in the rap beef. So all of this stuff, it sure looks like it's from Kendrick Lamar's camp. But let me tell you something that I observed as a behaviorist. Kendrick Lamar is too smart, too calculated, and too detail-oriented to be this sloppy. I don't think this is Kendrick Lamar's doing, no way, shape, or form. And one iota, I don't believe that Kendrick Lamar had anything to do with this because listening to him over the years, hearing how excellent he is at his artistry and rapping, his lyrics, everything, how he's coming at, even with his rap beef, he wasn't playing defense, he's straight rapid fire, playing offense. He wasn't sensitive to all of this. Drake was the sensitive one. So if I were to think of anybody who would probably have repercussion or do something like this, it would probably be Drake because he was the one in his feelings and he couldn't help it throughout this rap beef. So we got a lot to unpack. And I'm going to blow your mind with some more intimate details about this situation. Now, as I mentioned, this report came in bright and early in the morning, this morning at 2:09 a.m. Now, it was reported by the news at 2:09 a.m. And as mentioned earlier, there was only one person taken to the hospital, and it was reported that he has serious injuries. So he's in serious condition. Now, according to police, the shooting suspect fled in a car. Police are reviewing videotapes of the incident and attempts to identify the suspect and or the vehicle. So check this out. In my view, Kendrick Lamar wouldn't be this sloppy. If he wanted to do something like this, he would be more calculated and it would have been done in a much more clever way. I'm talking about a more clean way because the truth of the matter, they're going to get caught. It's on tape. And with all of the technology and with these videos and things like that, they're going to be able to identify the car. They're going to trace back to the owner of the car or so forth and so on. And they're going to eventually find the victim. They got all this face recognition. If they got it with you to open your phone up and this and this and this, imagine what the authorities have and how they're monitoring us on a daily basis. I'm talking about they got all kind of videos and things like that. They got fake birds and all that around with video cameras. Believe me, they're going to find out who did this, and whomever did this, they're going to suffer severely, and rightfully so, right? These do confirm the shooting is definitely tied to Drake. They confirmed that. I don't know how they got this information. They saying it's definitely tied to Drake, and as a result, officers are scouring Drake's property for evidence, but they're trying to avoid jumping to conclusions because everything is leading as if this was a part of the rap beef. But it just seems a little too convenient, right? It seems a little too convenient. I believe that this had nothing to do with Kendrick Lamar. It had everything to do with someone trying to use this situation to benefit themselves in some way, shape, or form.
This from the Bridle Path area, where a police investigation is underway at Drake's home.
Now, of course, you can expect, many are saying it's difficult not to assume that this is directly associated with the rap beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. But that's too easy and convenient, right? Now, there were many low blows fired by both rap artists, many hurtful and disrespectful things said. Case in point, Drake was coming at Kendrick Lamar saying that he's a woman beater, that he lays hands on his fiance, and the ultimate low blow, one of his kids, Drake came at him saying one of his kids is not even his. It's his manager's kid that he's raising with his manager's act. Like, this is crazy. That is when you start going that deep, when you talking about loved ones, especially when you're talking about wives or girlfriends, hits hard. So again, but it wasn't just Drake. Kendrick Lamar came at Drake saying just things just as disrespectful, saying that Drake wasn't like us, calling him a colonizer because he's Jewish and black mixed, saying he's not, revoking his black card, saying he's not black enough, also saying he's a pedophile, saying he like his girls young, warning other rap artists to keep your young kids away from Drake, saying he had surgery to get those abs, saying all kind of, had a nose job. Oh man, they held no punches. They didn't consider each other's feelings. And my biggest fear was that this would spill over out of the rap arena. And I don't know if this is associated with the rap beef, but it's looking like it. In the court of public opinion, all of the opinion of the public, that's really what matters. Because this could have just been intense fans carrying this propaganda out. It could have been. Who knows? But the foundation that sparked this all may have well been the rap beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. I mean, who's to say? It's also worth noting Kendrick Lamar showed a picture of Drake's mansion on the cover of one of his diss tracks with a caption that implied sex offenders live there. No. So you can already see how the dots were starting to connect to lead up to this, but I still think that although Kendrick Lamar is a rap genius, he's too smart and calculated to do something this sloppy and careless. I totally disagree that this was Kendrick Lamar or he had anything to do with this. So again, you ain't gonna believe what I'm about to drop on you. Now, with this incident being one of the headlines, a top story in today's news, you already know there were many reports, written about this story and said about this story. And it just happened a couple of hours ago. But I've already seen, and I've read many of the reports, I've already seen some discrepancies within some of the reports. One report revealed a security guard working at Drake's mansion in Toronto was hospitalized with serious injuries after being shot outside the house on Tuesday morning. He was standing outside the entrance of the house when he was shot. Paul Krawicz, Toronto's police inspector, says the shooting was captured on video, but the suspect fled and motive has yet to be determined. Now, a lot of these things we heard, a little more specific details. Now, let me tell you how that differs from this next report. A second report discussed that a man was badly wounded in an overnight drive-by shooting at Drake's Toronto home. That's pretty consistent across all reports. The victim was a 48-year-old security guard. All right. They say the man was hit multiple times. Bing, 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 bing. The other report said the man was only hit one time. I saw a few reports said he was shot once. Another report said he was shot multiple times, most severely getting hit in the chest. So we're all still unpacking this thing. There's a lot of unknowns still associated with this thing. They say the man was hit multiple times, like I mentioned. This differs from the other report, like I mentioned. Now, police have sealed Drake's $100 million mansion with crime tape because now this is an official crime scene, right? Yes. Now, if this was indeed involving that rap beef, if this is the result of that rap beef and Kendrick Lamar definitely has something to do with this, then this is terrible. This was the worst case scenario that I've been talking about in all these other videos that I covered surrounding this rap beef. I said this is great for the rap industry because it heightens creativity and it heightens, it forces everybody to put forth their best foot to try to win the battle. So in that sense, I believe it was a great thing, but I also mentioned that the worst case scenario is for this to go out of bounds, to come out of the boundaries of the rap industry and overspill into and escalate into possible violence and even worse, murder. And here we are. If it's indeed associated with that rap beef, this is exactly my worst fear. Right? And part of the solution, I was encouraging some of the seasoned rap artists that are more respected, Nas, Jay-Z perhaps, should come in and put some boundaries, establish a foundation so that if rappers do beef and battle, they would have a sound and safe foundation to do it in. Almost like when we were going through the COVID situation, everybody was locked down. Those beefs that they had, the R&B battles and all that they had, over social media, and things like that. So they put boundaries on it, and so that it could be successful. And it was very, very successful, those battles they had. So they need to do the same thing to these rap beefs, because it makes everybody associated with hip hop and the rap industry look bad when things like this happens, right? I still don't think that this was Kendrick Lamar's doing. It doesn't match who he's demonstrated himself to be through his lyrics, through his lifestyle, and everything that we've seen about Kendrick Lamar. He's too sharp, he's too calculated, and he's too detail oriented to go about something this sloppy with not enough preparation and able to carry it out in a much better way. I truly think that this is someone trying to make it look like it was associated with the rap battle. It was caused by this rap beef. I don't think it's Kendrick Lamar. The same way they're trying to, I believe that some powers that be are trying to pay people to shoot and start fights when we're in big gatherings to try to show that we can't commune together safely, which is so far from the truth, right? It's only about less than 1% of the bad apples that make it bad for everybody. But I believe the way the world is going, they're trying to make it seem like we're not safe with doing the very minute things together. Basically trying to imply or bring us more apart, right? Listen, let me tell you something. Hopefully the security guard will be healed. Hopefully it don't turn left, and say it's serious. So it should be in a position where he should be able to be healed and recover fully. Hopefully everyone else is cool, and hopefully moving forward, there's no retaliation and all this and that, jumping to conclusions. Hopefully the police will do a thorough job, a thorough investigation, and bring justice to the world. Hopefully justice will prevail and no one else will be hurt or injured or even worse. Listen, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Listen, you are important. You are necessary and you are sufficient. Never forget that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to keep it coming. You be great. And more importantly, be blessed.